Actually, we just created a digital single market that allows for scope to scale up. You see this business environment here, you see the dynamics. What we need is, of course, to encourage that. But we are Europeans, and I think we would be lousy Chinese, so we stay true to our values.
Speaking of China, there's a social scoring system that the Chinese platforms use. The AI guidelines in Europe didn't exactly rule out that social scoring system. Are you worried that it might creep through into some platforms in Europe?
No, I'm not, because the whole push is to create AI that we can trust, so that you don't get a strong pushback that people say, no, we cannot deal with this because it's dangerous. And it's that saying, we will develop something that you can actually trust that will for real serve humans, not just the state, not just big business, but humans.
We've both been at the same technology conferences in recent years, and there's been a lot of venture capitalists griping about Apple's behavior against Spotify. Both have music streaming platforms, and you've been looking at whether to launch a formal investigation. What can you say about that?
Well, Spotify have launched a complaint, and we're in the process of looking into that. Of course, the first thing we do is that we ask the company that's being complained about, and we're in the process of getting their answers back. And then, of course, we will dive in, because this market is very important for us, because we have this larger issue at stake as well. Can you, if you are dominant in a market, you have basically won this market, can you then compete with the people doing business on your platform? So this complaint is also part of a larger endeavor in order to make sure that we have fair competition.
You've looked at these big Silicon Valley companies a lot in recent years, and you've lobbed fines. Are you on the page that there should be a consideration about breaking up some of these Silicon Valley giants?
My line of thinking is more about sharing the resource that allows you to grow this kind of scale. Because the risk is that with the kind of economics to scale that you have in these businesses, if you break them up, you just get two giants instead of one. And the thing is that access to data is what allows others to grow as well. So for instance, one could imagine in a future case as a remedy to an illegal behavior by a dominant company, data sharing could be what you need, because that's what allows people to compete against the dominant company.
One of the issues, though, that's cropped up this week around the Christchurch call has been that if there's too much regulation, too much compliance around, say, violent extremist terrorism content, that it benefits the major social media platforms because they have the ability, they have the resources to make sure that they comply. Is that something that you're mindful of, that tussle between getting the regulation right but also not deepening the moat to make it even harder for European startups?
Well, very much so. If you look at the recent legislation on copyright, you'd see there's a very, very strong sensitivity to enabling the smaller players to gain scale, but also the responsibility that you get as a large player. And this is why you see the sort of the different levels of responsibility in that type of legislation.
I think many of the viewers have enjoyed seeing you and hearing your commentary in recent years and what you're doing at the Commission. I know you have ambitions to become the President of the European Commission. Do you have a fighting chance when there's so much going on behind the scenes, country versus country, individual politics, left versus right, swapping of positions? Do you think you have a chance?
Well, you're right to say that it is very complex, but if you don't make yourself available, you don't have a fighting chance. And the worst thing that can happen is that you get to know and your vanity is getting hurt, but that won't kill you.
What do you hope to change if you do secure the presidency? What will your key initiatives be, do you think?
I think the first thing to do is to show visibly that we change, and that would be to have a gender-balanced commission, because women are not a minority. We are half the population, and of course the commission should be gender-balanced.
You've also mentioned in a speech about digital taxes, making sure it's fairer, but so far there's been no accord across European member states to do that. France has had to embark upon its own measures. Do you think this is an initiative that we could see some traction on in coming years?
Indeed, because we need to have fairness in taxation. There are so many companies, they do pay their taxes, they create jobs, they contribute to the economy, and it's not fair that they have to see competitors for capital, for skilled employees, get away with paying less than half the same amount of taxes. So of course we need to do this. France and a number of other European member states, they now go their own way. I think we need a European push to have a global push. Fortunately, OECD is on it, very much, I think, inspired of the line of thinking of my colleagues responsible for taxation, so we can have the global push as well, because that is indeed needed.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.